And changing tack slightly, but while you're there for us in Brussels, Rosie, the European Union's launched a disciplinary process against Hungary over rule of law breaches. Tell us what that means, why they've done it, and what might be coming next, therefore, for relations between Budapest and Brussels.
Officials in the building behind me, the European Commission, have been working on what's called its rule of law mechanism. This was a mechanism agreed among member states back in July 2020, although it was a very bitter debate among member states, and Hungary and Poland then tried to challenge the very mechanism itself in the EU's top court. The EU's top court ruled against them, and essentially through this mechanism, Brussels can take steps towards cutting EU funds or EU budget funds from countries that it accuses of breaches of rule of law. Now, the European Commission back in November sent a letter to Budapest outlining some of its concerns around rule of law standards, particularly around judicial independence. The Hungarian government has then replied, and we've had this announcement from the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen to say those responses essentially were not satisfactory, and that's why they are launching the next step of this rule of law mechanism. It marks the first time the European Commission initiates this procedure. It's been welcomed by several EU lawmakers who've been calling for this for a long time. As I said, the mechanism was first agreed back in July 2020. However, that timeline is just a taste of what's to come, because this is not likely something that's going to move overnight. We're not likely to see budget payments to Hungary cut anytime soon. Budapest will, of course, come back and counter these arguments. So this is likely an argument and a debate between Brussels and Budapest that's going to rumble on. Of course, Viktor Orban, the Hungarian Prime Minister, has just secured a major victory, and in response to this announcement of the rule of law mechanism being triggered, Hungary has essentially said, or the Hungarian government have said, that Brussels should not be punishing Hungarians for their own democratic choices. That, of course, is an allegation that Brussels would absolutely deny. They would say this is nothing to do with Hungarian voters, but rather to do with the rule of law standards within Hungary and those implications for that joint EU budget and how it's being spent.
Rosie, thank you. That's Rosie Burchard in Brussels.